How you doing, Patricio? Hello.
Hello, my friend.
How
I'm
are you
good. How
doing?
about you?
I'm doing
Good,
good. I'm
good.
doing good.
Right to go.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, awesome. So listen, I've been watching you for 12 years in Bellator. We've all been watching you for 12 years in Bellator. So it's gone through a lot of changes over the years, and you're still here. What is the biggest difference about your experience, maybe, way back when compared to now? Like, what's different about being in Bellator now?
Ah, início de carreira.
Yeah, back when I started, I had a lot of energy. I was young, I was faster, and a little bit more reckless. And now, 12 years later, I'm more experienced. I'm more focused, more cold, and more precise. And I know the right moments to use my energy instead of just wasting it during the fight.
And you're of course more accomplished too. You've won championships in two different weight classes. I've heard you talk before about maybe trying to go for a third. Would you even be interested in going down to bantamweight? Let's say maybe when the Grand Prix ends down there and challenging for the championship. Is that something that's on your radar?
Acho que eu vou defender esse título
I
agora
think
com
I'm going to defend the belt now.
e mais uma
And if
defesa.
God
Se Deus
allows it, I will
permitir,
defend it one
eu
more
vou
time.
desafiar o
And
campeão
after that,
peso galo.
I will challenge whoever is the bantamweight champion at the time. And I'm going to be a double champion again.
Okay, that'll be an interesting day to see. And of course, you mentioned Adam Borics. You have him next weekend in your next title defense. What makes him dangerous as an opponent for you?
Ele é bom kickboxer e
He's a
tem
good
uma técnica
kickboxer,
muito boa.
and he now has a
Então,
good
esse foi
takedown
os pontos
defense.
fortes dele.
The
Os
weakness
pontos
that he
fracos, você já
showed
sabe, né? Que
was in that fight when he was taken down and
ele foi
submitted
testado e
earlier.
finalizado, foi
And
abandonado
we've seen he's
bem.
improved in
Então
those
é a única
areas.
brecha
But me and my
que
team
ele mostrou no
truly
combate.
analyze his game,
Mas eu penso que o
and there
peito
are some
fino
things that we
tem
think we can
um bom
explore
lutador que
to
vai
get the
enfrentar.
victory this time.
So now you're the featherweight champion for, of course, the third time. You won the belt back earlier this year. Was it any more satisfying regaining the championship this time now that you're much farther in your career? Maybe can you appreciate it more?
Eu só queria dar.
Both times that I got the belt back were as satisfactory as each other because the first time I got the belt back in front of my son, it was the first time he saw me fighting. And this time I had both of my sons and to see me win it, and it was over the guys that had took the belt from me. So they both had special meanings for me in each of their ways. And as far as this fight goes, the only bitter taste that I have in my mouth is because I wanted to finish AJ. But aside from that, it was great to get the belt back, to show that I'm still here and be the champion again.
I wanted to ask you too, because throughout your career, the man who was the champion in the UFC for so long was Jose Aldo, who of course just retired, right? Is there any regret that you never got the chance to test yourself against the guy who was the guy in another organization?
Inevitavelmente, nós fomos comparados, né?
Yeah, it was kind of unavoidable to have comparisons between us because at the same time he was reigning in the UFC, I was reigning here in Bellator. Yes, it's a fight I think everyone wanted to see. Unfortunately, it never got to happen. And now he's retired. I don't think it doesn't seem like it was his decision. Looks like someone else made that decision for him. There seemed to be a spark for him to retire, but he was still talking about competing and going for another title. So I don't know. Perhaps we'll see him back in the cage again someday. And perhaps when he does that, or perhaps may cross and we can settle that who was the best in this division. But it's nothing really that I can control. So I'm not really worried about it. I wish him well in his retirement.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to ask you too. I like to ask fighters this, do you remember your first experience watching mixed martial arts when you were younger?
Não, pelo vídeo.
Yeah, my first time watching at the time was Vale Tudo was Royce in the UFC. And in person was a fight between two Vale Tudo pioneers in my state. And I remember that.
Eu lembro muito bem.
So what is your typical walk around weight between fights?
Entre 77 e 80 quilos.
Between 170 and 175 pounds.
And when you come to the cage for a featherweight fight, what are you typically weighing in on fight night? Do you know?
Entre 7 e 2.
Between 160 pounds, 162 pounds.
What do you have a favorite meal that you like to eat after you're done weighing in? You know, the first thing you want to go to when you're hungry after that?
Yeah, back when I started here in Bellator, we didn't have much knowledge about weight recovery, so we would actually eat hamburgers, pizza with ketchup and all that, milkshakes. But now we know better. Until after, before the fight, my food is pretty clean. I eat rice with sweet potatoes, chicken breast or fish. It's pretty clean up until the fight is over.
Now, who in the sport of mixed martial arts do you most admire? It doesn't have to be a fighter; it could be a coach, anybody.
Meu irmão passou por.
Yeah, my brother. You know, if you look at his career trajectory, he's a guy who had some major setbacks, and he always got back on track and started winning again. He had some important fights. He only had the chance to fight for the title once and on short notice. So despite his results, he never had the opportunity to fight for the title with a full camp. And then after his first setback in a title fight, he spent 4 years without losing. And that culminated in the fight in Japan against Taufik Musayev, which he fought with a broken hand, which the event didn't allow us to remove his glove to check on his hand. And he had just fought prior because it was 2 fights on the same night. And he went into that fight with a broken hand. He fell from the ring and injured his shoulder and his leg. And it was midway during the fight, and he still kept going, and it was a war for 3 rounds. And he barely lost it. And everyone would be angry about that. And then he fought in the US against Quayle. He was winning the fight, and it was stopped because of a cut. And now, after 4 years without any losses, he had 2 losses in a row. When people starting questioning his age and if he was old, and he himself was questioning if it was time for him to end his career. And he got a chance again, first time with a full camp for a title fight at his opponent's house, and he went in there and he won it. And now he's rejuvenated and he's talking about fighting for 5 more years. You see the careers of fighters. Not many fighters are able to overcome one setback, let alone as many as he had. And now he's the champion. I believe the oldest champion in Bellator history. So he's made history already with that.
That's wonderful. Well, listen, Patricio, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And I wish you the best
Thank you,
of luck
Scott.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go, brother.